My son has a good job, and you don't have one. Spending your time playing games every day, you don't fit in with our family. From now on, I'll live here with my son, so you need to leave right now. It was unusual for my husband, who usually stays in his room, to be out. The intercom rang loudly. When I opened the door, my mother-in-law said, "Why didn't you open the door as soon as the intercom rang? You really are a useless wife who can't do anything." "Sorry, I didn't hear it. I was busy working." "Stop lying. I know you lie about working. You don't do any chores, and you just sit around all day." "It's not a lie. It doesn't matter if you work or not." My mother-in-law smiled and showed me a piece of paper. "Do you know what this is?" "What is it?" "They're divorce papers. My son filled them out. He doesn't want you. Now sign here and leave." She looked down at me with a smug smile. I signed the divorce papers, my hand shaking as I held the pen. My poor mother, so happy, doesn't understand me at all. My name is Jasmine. I work from home as a freelance writer and editor. A few years ago, I worked for a publishing company. Thanks to that experience, I still make enough money to live well. When I worked at the publishing company, I saved a good amount of money, so even though I'm a freelancer now, I can live without many worries. I met my husband, Michael, when I worked at the publishing company. At that time, I was a new editor, and Michael was an aspiring writer. I made a lot of mistakes and things weren't going well, but like me, Michael never gave up, even when things didn't work out. His hard work and determination inspired me. I worked hard too, never giving up. Because of Michael's support, I became who I am today. I admired his dedication and eventually fell in love with him. A few years later, we got married. When I married Michael, I left the company and became a freelancer. At first, life was good. I wasn't yet stable as a freelancer, and Michael was still chasing his dream. We supported each other and shared housework and living costs. 2 years after we got married, my work started to stabilize. That's when Michael began telling his family that he was a successful writer. In reality, he wasn't successful at all. He had been rejected by publishers many times. He probably wanted to make his parents proud. I didn't want to worry his family, so I didn't say anything and just went along with Michael's story when we visited his parents. At first, all I had to do was nod, but as time passed, I became uncomfortable when I visited his parents. They believed Michael's story that he was a successful writer, and they started calling me a useless wife who didn't work. Working from home as a freelancer may be hard for my in-laws to understand. I don't blame them for that, but their attitude toward me kept getting worse. Whenever I went to my in-laws' house, they would say, "How can a wife who doesn't work or do housework show up at her husband's house?" As I've told you many times, I'm a freelancer, and I work from home. Michael and I agreed to share housework when we got married. You shouldn't talk back when you don't even have a job. You say you work at home, but you don't earn much. Michael takes care of everything. Don't worry, I earn enough to pay for our living expenses every month. Oh, you don't get it. If you don't appreciate Michael more, he might leave you. If he does, you won't be able to support yourself. We kept having these conversations, and I had to bite my tongue. I almost said, "I'm the one who pays for most of our expenses and does most of the housework. It's Michael who doesn't have a job or help with chores," but I didn't. At first, I only heard their sarcastic comments when Michael wasn't around, but recently, when we went to dinner at his parents' house, they only prepared food for Michael, and I had no seat. It became normal that they didn't care about me. On top of everything, my in-laws were talking about me to all the relatives. Even when I went to family gatherings a few times a year, they would gossip about me behind my back. I didn't feel sad about it, but I was frustrated with Michael. He just sat back and let them say whatever they wanted without even trying to stop them. Since my in-laws believed Michael was a successful writer, they started asking him to buy them things. Michael would ask me to buy new furniture or appliances, even though the ones we had were still fine. He wanted to impress his parents, so he bought everything they asked for. I ended up spending nearly $2,000 a month on things for them. All the money came from my earnings. Michael took money from my account and wallet without telling me, and gave it to his parents. At first, I let the small amounts slide, but when it became too much, I said, "Michael, don't spend my money without asking me." He just looked at me like I was bothering him. "You work from home, so your job is easy, right? You're just playing around and making money. Why not spend a little on my mom? Don't be so stingy." "Michael, is that really how you see my job?" "Yeah, it's easy. You stay at home and get paid for it." I can't believe you think that about me. He laughed and walked into his room. As I watched him, I realized I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I would divorce him. I had always believed Michael was on my side, no matter what his parents said. I tried my best, but now even Michael was mocking me. I saw everything clearly now. I knew he spent hours in his room but never wrote a word of his manuscript. He was just playing video games. When I first met him, he was so serious about his work and wanted to write something amazing. I no longer see the hardworking Michael I once loved. All I see now is Michael, who sides with his parents and makes fun of me. I decided to secretly look for an apartment for myself. While searching for a new place, I began organizing my things and preparing to leave at any time. Eventually, I found a good apartment and had already seen it. One day, when Michael wasn't home, my mother-in-law showed up. She rang the doorbell excitedly and barged in, sitting on the sofa like it was her own house. "Jasmine, get out of this house." "What are you talking about? I've been telling you for a while now that you don't have a job and don't do any housework. You're just a useless wife. Michael, a successful writer, deserves better than you. I've told you before, you're wrong about that." My mother-in-law cut me off and went on, "If you leave, I'll live here. That way, I can cook for Michael every day and not have to take care of that woman." "That woman? Michael's mom? She's so picky about the food and the cleaning. I can't live with her anymore. I want to stay here with Michael and send her to a nursing home." "How are you going to pay for that?" "I'll make Michael pay for it. He makes a lot of money, so it won't be a big deal for him." "That's why you're in my way. Get out." Then, my mother-in-law handed me the divorce papers. "Why do you have these?" "I made him fill them out a while ago. I told him to divorce you, Jasmine, as soon as possible." I quickly signed the papers. My mother-in-law smiled smugly. I checked the divorce papers, and sure enough, they were written by Michael. This actually worked out in my favor. I had been planning to move out, but I wasn't sure how to get a divorce. I thought Michael would resist, but now the papers were ready. I thought it would be a long process, but my mother-in-law handed me everything without any struggle. She seemed surprised that I filled out the papers so easily but quickly returned to her usual attitude. "Now get out. Leave everything behind. All the furniture was bought with Michael's money, so you can't take anything." She laughed. I packed my things, moved into my new apartment, and also filed the divorce papers at the municipal office. I was starting a new life without any problems. It was so much easier to work without anyone bothering me or mocking me. I felt like my work was going better than before. 3 days after I moved out, while I was working at home, I got a call from Michael. When I answered, he said in a sad voice, "Please come home." "What's going on now?" "I'm sorry, please come back." "I'm not coming back, we're already divorced." "I didn't agree to the divorce, it's not valid." "But the papers were written in your handwriting." "That was just a threat, I didn't want a divorce." "That doesn't change the fact that you wrote them. A divorce is a divorce. You get to live with your family now, you should be happy." "I'm sorry, but my family thinks I'm a writer. They quit their jobs and moved here, expecting me to support them. Now they want me to pay for grandma's surgery, and I don't have that kind of money." "I see, so, that's why you want me to come back." "Yes, and now that my parents know I've been lying, they're really mad at me. They're all demanding that I bring you back. You know how hard this is for me. Please come back. Let's live together again." "Do you really think I'm going to say yes? I've told you many times, we're divorced. You need to face your real problems." "Don't say that, Jasmine." No matter how many times I said no, Michael wouldn't stop asking. He kept holding on to me. I told him over and over that we were strangers now, that we were divorced, but he didn't listen. "Fine, I'll divorce you if you keep pushing, but if we do, you should be responsible for my parents' care and alimony, since you were supposed to take care of them when we were married." "What are you talking about?" "Well, if you hadn't divorced me, my parents would have ended up in a care facility, and we would have had to pay for their care, so, now you should pay for it. You divorced me on your own. They found out I lied about being a successful writer, and my parents got mad at me. All of this is because of your selfish divorce. I can't pay alimony." "No, I won't pay that because I don't get what you're saying. When we were married, it was you who called me a jobless, useless wife. You lied about me, and your parents and relatives believed you. I was hurt more than you. I'm not interested in you anymore. If you need money, why don't you borrow it from the bank or somewhere else?" With that, I hung up the phone without waiting for Michael's response. I blocked his number and changed it. A few months later, I passed by my in-laws' old house, which had been sold and turned into a parking lot. There was no trace of the house left. While I was looking at the parking lot, a neighbor, who had been shopping, came over and told me that Michael's family had to move into an old apartment because they were all unemployed and out of money. They had been fighting every day, and the neighbors could hear them. It was so loud that the police had been called. She patted me on the shoulder and said, "You had a tough time too." Before walking away, I turned my back on my former in-laws. Michael had lied to look good, but the more he lied, the bigger the gap between the truth and his lies became. I never expected things to end this way, but it turned out to be a more interesting story than the ones Michael wrote. It shows how small lies can lead to big problems. I wonder if Michael, who wanted to be a writer, ever imagined this would happen. The truth is stranger than fiction. I feel a little sorry for him because he ruined his life by lying to his parents for his own pride and satisfaction, but I've learned from him. I won't let myself end up like that.